Welcome back to the CheckSwing Podcast with myself and, of course, the brains and brawn of the situation. We got Miguel, Coach Santa over there holding it down. Miguel, Coach Santa produced the whole show today.
Oh, stop it.
Give me a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out. He produced the whole show today. So, shout out to him. So, you're definitely going to enjoy it. I guarantee you that. But before we get into it, let me ask my people how they been. So, Coach Santa, how you been?
Man, it's spring. Baseball's in the air. I am ready to roll, and I have about 3.5 weeks before summer ball starts.
Okay. Are you spring ball happening at all for you, or it's just
Well, so I don't coach high school ball as of yet, but no. So I pretty much my season starts like we start practice like 2 or 3 weeks before Memorial Day, which is the end of spring ball for high school in the state of Maryland. So
Gotcha.
usually by mid-May they've decided the cities and then the state championships by then.
Gotcha. Who before we get into who, if you know, who are some of the tougher teams down there in that area?
So you have the math.
Yeah.
Don't get me quoted. St. John's in DC is pretty. Yeah, give me a few on that one.
Y'all kind of put you on the spot on that. I didn't know if you.
Well, because there was a ranking that came out like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, this will be good for the show," and I just completely forgot about it.
But don't even worry about it. We'll move on. You can bring it up. We'll bring it up later. But we got a lot to cover today, right? Of course, everybody knows about the whole Shedeur Sanders sliding down the draft. So we're going to talk about that a bit. I got a lot to say about it. The Eagles, your Philadelphia Eagles, visited the White House. Was yesterday, I think. It was yesterday on Monday. Visited the White House. There's a lot of people having a lot to say about that. So we'll get into that. Some baseball to talk about. The Phillies finally won a game again. We'll talk about that. Aaron Nola got a dub finally. Finally got a dub. So we're gonna get into that. And there's some people that are not known for being baseball players, but they did play baseball. At least I know one of them did. I think they both did, but I know one of them did. Deion Sanders and Cam Newton have some opinions on today's state of baseball. And we're going to get into that a bit. But first things first, what we're going to do is get into the Eagles NFL draft. Why did I say it like that? The Eagles NFL draft, like who else? What other draft happened? We're going to get into the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the Eagles picks. They had 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks. 4 in the 6th round. 1, 2, and 3 in the 5th. 1 in the 4th. 1 in the 2nd, and 1 in the 1st. And for the first pick, they selected out of Alabama, Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. There's been talk of him being a linebacker, an edge rusher, maybe both, maybe a Micah Parsons role. Miguel, what did you think about the pick?
I mean, I love it. I love the fact that they started off on defense because I think they're good on offense, minus a few, I guess you can say depth picks. This is the first linebacker they've picked in the first round since I think 1979. One Jerry Robinson. But I definitely like the pick. I like the fact that he can play multiple roles. And I think that's the way the Eagles have always done it with their linebackers, because I think going back to like the Carlos Emmons days, their linebackers tend to, I know, they tend to go back and forth between, playing coverage. Some play man, some will, play down lineman on the edge, be an edge rusher. So it definitely gives them a lot of flexibility. But I like the fact that they're thinking about the future because, and we'll show the graphic in a little bit of the draft picks that we have in 26, which is just like it's unbelievable, because people don't think that when the players leave, like your Hargroves leave and your Darius Slay leaves, like the Eagles get compensated, and they make sure that they get those compensatory picks, and they got them stacked up, and that's how they keep, they may have a year or two where they're off, but they come back and be competitive. And it's kind of pseudo following the same model as the Patriots here and there, So it's like, okay, so the model's there. The Eagles are just doing it right.
Yeah, they go back to your compensatory picks. I think they got one for Josh Sweat. They got one for Milton Williams, and I think they got one for was it
I
Makai
think
Becton?
it's in the graphic. If you want to put up the
Okay,
Howie, the 26 picks.
let's put it up. There you go. Yep, Makai Becton, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams.
Yep.
Those were the compensatory picks that they and this is for next year.
This is for next. This is the 26th draft, and I believe that Jets pick is from when we got that bust from the Jets.
Oh, the edge rusher that didn't really.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't think of his name right now. The same. I was talking about him earlier, but now I can't think about his name right now. But he didn't play much for the Eagles, and he's still on the roster, so he still has the opportunity to possibly revive his career. Maybe he just couldn't really get the scheme that defensive coordinator Vic Fangio was running. But this will be his second year in the scheme, and he's supposed to be pretty good. We've seen him; he's pretty good, but just couldn't find his way on the field around an aging Brandon Graham, who didn't look like he was really aging. Right? He didn't look like the young Brandon Graham, but he didn't look like he was about to retire Brandon Graham this year. But yeah, we're looking at next year's draft, and I'm feel like by the time next year's draft comes around, they won't have these many picks. But they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 picks. 12 picks in next year's draft. Right now. I'm looking at this right now. I'm thinking 2 of those 5th round picks get traded. And they'll probably land in the 6th round somewhere. And I'm thinking one of those 4th round picks one of the 4th or the 3rd round, if not both. One of those picks will get traded, I believe, before the draft starts. I don't think they stay in the 3rd round with 3 picks. Unless they do bad this year. Unless they're a bad team this year, I don't see them staying in the 3rd round. Of course, there's another year we're looking at. They're probably gonna have to offload some money to pay some people. If they do well, Jalen Carter's gonna have to get paid. They're talking about an possible option for Jordan Davis. They got to pick that up by May 1st, 2 days.
Yep. But so number one, we have one of the youngest teams in the NFL. So we're at I think we're bringing back 6 or 7 defensive starters that they're barely 25. There may be one that's 26. And I think altogether we have maybe 12, maybe 13 starters that we don't even need to talk contract until 27, 28. So it's at least for the next 2 or 3 years, the core on both sides of the ball is going to be there.
I'm wondering on the defensive end, and just shout it out when it comes to you. Where's the leadership coming from on the defensive side of the ball next year? Your veteran leadership.
Oh, Zach Braun.
Is he the oldest on the most experienced? I should say. I want to say the most experienced on that side. That's going to be getting minutes.
I don't even know that you go by experience. I think because sometimes experience doesn't. You have those quiet leaders, but you have those people that just lead by example. I think Zach Braun is a leader. I would even say Jordan Davis is a leader because they're the most vocal. But Zach Braun is I don't know if you saw that YouTube clip where they do the mic'd up Super Bowl. Everybody that's mic'd up and stuff like that.
Have not checked that out yet. I need to watch.
Are you serious,
mm-hmm.
Dude? You got to watch it. But you hear you hear some of the leadership moments. He actually called his interception. He called it because they said they practiced that similar play that he picked off near the end zone. And he said he dropped that in practice, but he caught it today. I think your future leaders are, the amazing whites. I think they're your future leader, not Blankenship, more so, the other kid.
And honestly, Miguel, that kind of worries me, and not the amazing white parts. If it's not Blankenship, because Blankenship's already been here a few years, then you're talking about what's my other man's name that you're always messing up his name? The other amazing white.
Oh, the
Cooper DeJean.
June, the
Cooper DeJean.
June. Hey, if Merrill Reese,
He's got to be a leader as a second year player.
if Merrill
If he's
Reese
that
can
leader,
say
that
his
works.
name, if Merrill Reese can say his name three different ways when he returns a super an interception for a touchdown, so can I.
Yeah, but see, the thing
I mean,
is, Merle Reese is in the Hall of Fame.
whatever.
It's not. You guys are not the same.
This is true, but he's still messing up his name. He's made.
So, so your niece is she's going in on the comments already.
Yeah, she's the one that sent me the original link when she literally like waited on YouTube for that clip.
Oh, for what clip?
That the clip I was talking about, the mic'd up Super Bowl.
Gotcha. Cooper DeJean was drafted in 2020. He was part of that draft, right? So he's 5 years in. So I'm good with that leadership coming from there. He was a defensive player of the year candidate, comeback player of the year for sure. But that's kind of like your oldest dude on defense.
Why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, but I don't see it as a good thing, right?
Why?
Because last year, when you had veteran leaders in different places, that's what put it together. Now, people would think, okay, well, the veteran leaders are gone, but they taught these young bulls. They taught the youngins for a year, right? Now you got to teach the youngins how to come back and do it again. Nobody's there to teach them how to come back and do it again. That's the only thing that worries me, and I just hope there's somebody in there that can come through and be that person. I just don't know who it would be.
But not for nothing, but I think they formed as leaders throughout the season in spite, because I mean, if you're picking, we could talk about the defense, right? Darius Slay made some comments that weren't really leadership like. Nothing bad, nothing terrible, but
Okay,
it's like,
let me stop you because I see where you're going, and that's not what I meant, because I also saw in the comments. That's why I wanted to stop you. When I'm talking about the leadership, I'm not talking about that part of it. I'm not talking about like you're a dummy. I'm talking about the leadership, the experience, the leadership of experience. That's more so what I'm talking about.
I get it, but so okay. So to be fair, right? Say what you want about the June. 5 years. He's been through a year where they didn't make the playoffs. He's been to a year where they went to the Super Bowl and lost. And then he went to the Super Bowl and won and was effective.
Wait, hold on. Who are you talking about?
Jejun.
He was a rookie this year.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Either way,
I'm confused.
I'm thinking of another player. I think I got him already confused with Blankenship. I'm doing it already. But yeah, you could take Blankenship, because he was on the rise. When was he drafted? 3 years ago.
Blankenship, yeah, I think this was his third season, I believe.
Gotcha. Well, either way, I think that between Zach Braun, DeJean, maybe at some point in the next couple years is going to evolve as a true leader. I'm trying to think who else on defense. One or two players on our defensive line. I think it's there. I think you've already built the core for it, and I get what you say about the veteran experience, but it really wasn't the veterans that won you this Super Bowl. If you really,
I get you. I get you on
you
that.
dig what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. But it was the veterans that had to get them to adapt to the league, right? It now call me crazy, but to me, it wasn't the youngins just doing it off talent alone. There's a whole, as we know as coaches, there's a whole lot more that goes into what happens on the field than just having talent, right? Preparation was it good? What they say, good preparation beats good talent, or something like that. Some
Yeah.
I'm not messing that up. Oh Lord, you all right over there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's keep it moving. um, it's funny when you have animals living in the house, you know. I just that's a little bit of a concern of mine. Let's just put it like this: if one and this is the name everybody would probably like to hear. If CJGJ were still in that locker room, I wouldn't even be having this conversation with you right now. If Darius Slay was still there, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. But you got rid of your kind of like your and they had to, I get it, but you got rid of your most senior leaders of a Super Bowl team that can still play.
See, I'm mixed on both of those.
Last times you had CJGJ, you went to the Super Bowl.
I'm mixed with both of those guys, though. I was upset when they got rid of CJGJ after the first Super Bowl. I was very like, and I think it showed. Okay, but I don't know that he was the. There was a lot of plays that I remember him getting burnt on, or just he just looked confused.
It happens, but that happens.
And
every cornerback in the league.
Get it, but I don't know. I just think that this team was built. I didn't see any. I think that there was so much talent on the defense that it overshadowed the true liabilities of some of the veterans that are on the downturn. Because think about you remember how we kind of joked how every time. Like, we know that Darius Slay pretty much would always, like, after like 5 or 6 consecutive plays, he'd be like, I gotta come out, I got a cramp or something. You know what I mean? And I think there was a couple of plays where CJGJ had to come out just because of some sort of, there was a couple of personal fouls I think he took that he shouldn't have taken. And granted, he took responsibility for it and, arguably got better as the season went. But I just think there was more issues, but because of the talent on the defensive line and Zach Braun coming out of nowhere, that it kind of covered up those issues in the secondary.
So here, let me say 2 things. If that talent on the defense covered up deficiencies, then we may not really know what the young guys are. Because their deficiencies may have also been covered up. And I'm just saying that to that point. And to your other point about CJGJ coming out, he did. I feel like Saquon came out more. I feel like Saquon came out a lot more.
What do you mean, as far as a leader?
No. Came out of the game. He would come out the game almost every couple of plays. Tap the helmet, he would come out.
Right, but it was more so. I mean, running backs are a little different because they're going, full out every play and they're blocking and stuff like that. And plus, like towards the last, I think there was it the playoff game where I think he had like bruised his hand or something and they took him out. And then I think another game, I think it might have been the Redskins game. They took him out early in the blowout, but something with his leg, but it may have been towards the end of the season. But I can't. Offense and defense are a little different, so I don't know if that's really a fair comparison.
It's a fair comparison because I say so. Because I say it's a fair comparison.
Well, he's running
the ball more. Yeah, I see where he would be coming out, but then like I remember an argument. A discussion I was having with a college professor I had, who was a rugby player, and he used to always talk about how football was such a soft sport because guys were coming out all the time. The guys, you're subbing in and out. You don't play both sides of the ball. You get tired, you get a rest and all like that. Whereas rugby is Whistle blows, you go for until the clock is up. There is no in and out. There's no in and out in rugby. There's no we're stopping to call a play, huddle, boom. It's all right, snapped, whatever they call it in rugby. You get the ball, you pitch it, and then when you boom, you're running your tackle, you get up, you got to do it again. Football, they always coming out. I'm just saying. Maybe the football players aren't as tough as we think they are. Or as we like to think they are.
Right.
That's what I would say. As we like to think.
More concussions in football than there are in rugby, so go figure.
Yeah, that sounds like the rugby players might be a little bit smarter too. In my opinion.
I mean, everything other than the rugby.
I don't think you can tackle high in rugby. I don't think you're allowed to do that.
You can tackle. No. You can tackle high. It's different. It's just different. I think was it Pete Carroll that was trying to incorporate rugby style tackling in his practices to try to reduce injury and to actually make cleaner tackles, because the way they tackle it, because they got no equipment on, but they're literally tackling below the waist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Geraldo says proper preparation. Can I say it? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Is that what I was trying to say earlier?
Sure.
Dara said, I don't think you can compare positions, especially because that boy was getting attacked too. Hey, let's put it like this. Saquon wasn't getting hit on every play, and neither was CJ
Really? But even the plays that he wasn't in, did you see how he was blocking?
Okay, right, I get it. He was blocking, but there were some plays where he may run out, and he'll never get touched, and he'll only get the ball. He ain't blocking on that. He's a decoy. That could happen. Whereas CJ on the same play may have to make a tackle, or may end up getting blocked because he's coming down. He's what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I want to say blitzing or attack. He's attacking and then he gets hit. All I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure if we had to look at, I'm pretty sure Saquon gets hit more. But I also feel like Saquon came out of games more too, more often. Like on any particular drive, I feel like Saquon would have came out 3-4 times in a drive.
Your CJ love is starting to get into the Embiid.
It's not even a CJ love thing. It's just I'm just comparing the two out because I know that CJ was a downhill attack player. That's the I wouldn't compare him to Blankenship.
True.
Or Darius Slay. I wouldn't make those comparisons. But I could make the comparison with Zach Bond. I could make that comparison. But I don't know how often Zach Bond came out of games. Yeah. It don't feel like it was that much, but I don't know how.
Well, plus, and there's certain schemes where you'll use less D-backs and kind of go big. So there's that. But he was always it's one thing I will say about CJ. I liked him against the run a lot.
Because he was a downhill
attack. Yeah, so I will say that.
His nose in there. It was some. Was it this year, or was it the last time the Carolina Panthers? He hit that boy from the Carolina Panthers. Almost killed that man.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I want to say he was on an interview one time, and he talked about CJ almost killed him on that play. I think he was a rookie too.
Mm-hmm.
Bad for him. Let's move on a bit. Let me get back to the rundown here. Where we going? Ty Robinson and Jahai Campbell. You had some things you liked about them.
Yeah, I definitely think that Ty Robinson, if you play the video, is a perfect fit for Philly for a lot of reasons, but I like his energy. So
let's see what you're talking about.
So definitely bringing the energy, even tackling or blindsided coaches. And in regards to Jahai Campbell, this one highlight is funny because he's actually killing the quarterback that was just drafted by the New York Giants. So here's who.
All clean. He ate it though. He ate it. He used to it. That was Jackson Dart. He was drafted by the Giants in the first round, the 25th pick, in the first round, where a lot of us thought Shador Sanders was going to go, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Nice segue.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Okay, let's get into it right now. Shador Sanders projected to be a top 5 pick, and listen. I'll be honest with you. I told people in conversation, I didn't see that personally. You know, I'm not saying I'm a Mel Kiper and I'm a great evaluator of talent and all like that. But from what I saw from Shador Sanders, I didn't see top 5. Just comparing to what I've seen top 5 in the past years. You know what I mean? Talented quarterback, absolutely. First round pick, probably. Second round pick, absolutely, if not in the first. But to go in the 5th round and pick, what was it, 164, I believe? 5th round pick, 144 to Cleveland after they had already picked the quarterback.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and like I said, I didn't think he was top 5. The only quarterback in this draft that was better than Shador Sanders, in my opinion, was the one that was picked number 1, Cam Ward out of Miami. It's the only one that I felt was better. I have a few theories, as many people do. But Miguel, I want to give you the opportunity to give your thoughts on the Shador Sanders situation. If you have any.
It's mixed because I think there's a difference between, confidence and cockiness and brashness and stuff like that, and what a talent can bring to the table. And one of the things you look for, especially in a draft, is how a player can be a change maker in your organization, especially at the quarterback position, which is pretty much, offenses are designed around a quarterback's abilities or liabilities, But I think it's saying a lot when you come out and kind of predict how you think things are going to work. I think what was really off-putting for me, it was like they showed, clips of his draft party with the self-proclaimed legendary, moniker, lambasted across his furniture or whatever the case may be. But I keep thinking about, okay, so his number was retired, and I'm like, I don't see the offensive stats to warrant a retirement number.
His number got retired in Colorado?
Yeah, they banner everything.
I didn't know that.
And he had a 13-12 record.
Best quarterback there since Cordell Stewart.
Which is all good and fine, but
is Cordell's number retired?
I believe it is. I think it is. Don't quote me though.
If Shador's is, then Cordell should be. Josh Downs had a comment. He said, "I think that he got too cocky with what good things were said about him, and listened to that too much, and he thought he was too good." Gerardo said, "Before you go there, I was going to go there. I'm taking that comment in." You stealing my thunder right in front of my face.
Right. And I was actually going to go to this point about the Mannings. So it's like what makes them different than the Manning family. Who all did the same thing. Maybe not to, that much of an extent, but I think social media plays more of a role in everything. Even the the video of him getting pranked,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, it's not the first time stuff like this has happened, but I don't think social media helped Shadur's case much. Um,
Ezekiel said he wins games. The line wasn't great, and he had no run game. Still performed. Yeah, he's right about that.
which is true. So that's what I go back and that's what I go back and forth with. You know,
Mhm.
um, I do think like because even like with the Eli thing and stuff like that, you only heard rumblings, you heard grumblings, but it's like with the Sanders thing, it was like they were beating this thing to death. Like you know, Deion Sanders said this. He's not gonna if he. I think there was that meme about him being quoted as saying, you know, if he, you know, I don't care who he, you know, goes with, but and I see what the Cleveland Browns have done, but if he ever gets picked by Cleveland, I would never, you know, I would do one of the what the Mannings did, you know.
I feel like
So
where quarterbacks go to die.
I mean, if you keep selecting quarterbacks and you don't build an offensive line, then yeah, that's usually what's bound to happen. Cleveland doesn't have a history of doing that.
They go there to die, and they have 5 of them right now. Cleveland has 5 quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
And the one that probably will end up playing the most over the next few years was the second quarterback they selected in this year's draft, not the first quarterback they selected. And they also got, of course, back the Eagles' former backup,
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. I'm glad you said it because I remember the first name. I was about to butcher the last name. A couple comments that came in. Dorado said he was 1-5. That was I guess that was his reply to Ezekiel when he said he wins games. He said he's 1-5 against winning teams. That says something. That says something. Like he was 1-5, but at that point, what were his numbers like in those games? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. What were his numbers like in those games? Because we all know that the team itself really wasn't that good as a whole, right? They had good players in certain places, but they were not good as a team. Coach Prime is still trying to make that happen. He also said there was more than just rumblings, Miguel. The Mannings made it clear they were not going. Yeah, he said, don't draft. Told San Diego not to draft him.
Right.
Don't draft him. Did they draft him again? I'm trying to remember. They did draft him and then trade him. Is that what happened? Or did they trade the pick, period? I don't remember how that went down. Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. I think I want to say you're right in the trade.
There was something. I mean, it doesn't. Somebody can let us know in the comments. But Josh said also, how much do you think he's going to play in Cleveland? I think. I think here's the thing. What does Cleveland want to do with him? That's the question. So, of course, he's going to battle for a spot, right? But personally, if I'm the GM right now, I'm the GM of Cleveland, right? Do I want to put Shador Sanders out there with what I have? I mean, I do need him to get experience, but do I want my potential franchise quarterback out there with what I'm putting out there currently? Right? We got to get him protection first. Once we get him protected, then we can have him playing a whole lot more. He's probably go out there do a whole lot of running plays, handing the ball off, boom, boom, boom. Couple quick throws, maybe have an opportunity to throw the ball long, but get his arm stronger and stuff like that. But how much do I think he's going to play this year? It's just because I feel like so Rado says Watson is out for the year. Flacco has 1 year left. Kenny Pickett will battle for the 1 spot. Shador will win the number 3 spot. And as so you don't damn. So I don't know why I'm putting so much thought into Cleveland, but if it were the Eagles in their current situation, your third quarterback is on the practice squad. right? We know back in like the 90s, early 2000s and 80s and stuff, they would have three quarterbacks on the sideline, um, or one starting and two on the sideline. Now it's not so much. Now they'll have one backup quarterback, and then they'll have they'll have their third quarterback as a practice squad player, and they'll just have somebody as an emergency quarterback. I guess they figured we gotta go to our third string quarterback, we ain't winning, so let's put the emergency person in there and get them killed. Um, I don't know how much he's gonna play. Obviously, I don't know, but I think he'll play Miguel. I'm going to over under 4.5 games. I'm going to say he's going to play. I'll say he'll play over 4.5 games this season.
I would say over 6.
Ooh,
I only say that because Cleveland, because of what's happened in Cleveland between the Watson situation, between the Miles Garrett, contract negotiations that went public. I think they may become desperate to try to get the fans back because I know they've been openly like revolting against the Browns. It only makes sense, but you know you're gonna have to see how he does, how he handles the big boys, and go from there. He's shown a lot of toughness. I don't care for the mouth so much, but that's kind of what you get with today's players, and yeah. So I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. You get that with the today's play. You don't get it as much with the quarterbacks, at least not as vocally, right?
Yeah,
Um, but like was said earlier, Johnny Manziel.
yeah, Johnny,
Manziel,
but he was I
he
would
was
say
also a Cleveland quarterback.
Manziel's situation was much worse than Shador's.
Now, here's what I will say to one of the comments earlier. They said where they said that he was listening too much to what they were saying. Quite possibly, quite possibly. But what I will say, when he first came to Colorado from Jackson State, and they were talking Heisman. He hadn't even played a game at Colorado yet, but they were talking Heisman. And I said he hasn't even played in a big conference game yet. Like, no disrespect to Jackson State, HBCU. I'm an HBCU grad. Um, but you're talking Heisman, and he hasn't played in that yet. But I say all that to say, when I remember one of his first interviews when arriving at Colorado, first year at Colorado, compared to now, I could definitely see a difference in what he put, the energy that he puts out into the environment. I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that. Did that make him? It's weird though. Did that make him unattractive to teams? Because the Giants had him come in for I mean, he went to a personal workout for a few teams, but then falls to the fifth round. Ben Roethlisberger, what, fell to the third round,
Something like that.
like that.
He wound up being a novel citizen. Oh, Eli was actually drafted by the Chargers, but he publicly demanded to be traded specifically to the New York Giants.
Ezekiel said, "I didn't expect you both to even say one game." I wonder why. Why, Ezekiel? Why you didn't expect us to say one game? Not even one. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking because of kind of our stance on certain things, but I'm just thinking about it. If I'm the Cleveland Browns management, public relations, all that stuff, I got to figure out how to get quite. I mean, it's because of the bottom line. I got to get asses back in the seats, plain and simple. And
So you got to get what? Say it again.
we got to get asses back in the seats. And again, that it was a crap show last year for Cleveland between the injuries, between how they handled certain things in the media. Again, everything they gotta do something to fire up the fan base and get competitive again.
They do. And one thing that would make that happen, right? Everybody loves the backup quarterback, right? Have somebody else start the season and do bad, and then have them chanting for Shador. Everybody loves the backup quarterback. Give Shador a chance to be loved. All right. Um, Now we're going to get into the prank and stuff, right? But there were a lot of theories on why people said race, people said his cockiness, his arrogance, um, and I understand all of that, and I don't disagree with all, but I want to add one more. It was one that I thought of. I want to add one more theory to it, and I think this is probably the least likely, but I still want to add it to your cerebellum. Okay. Could it be possible that there was no head coach that needed a quarterback for a franchise that needed a quarterback like Shador? There's no head coach that would want to have Shador because there's already been talk about Prime becoming an NFL head coach, and they figure if they have Shador, they can bring Prime in there and be the head coach and take that coach's job. I don't know because you already know you're probably not going to do well, and you're probably going to lose your job. And it will be very easy to go to your quarterback and say, "Hey, what you think? We're going to bring another We're going to bring another coach in here. What do you think?"
And I know. You know what though? I actually thought about that, which is why I was like, if he goes to Dallas, oh, it's definitely happening.
Oh, absolutely, it was going to happen.
I was like, oh, that's definitely. But I don't know that they wanted to. They already are their own worst enemy when it comes to PR stuff, so they probably didn't want that extra headache.
So Ezekiel says, I feel they will try him more and give him more of a chance. So, how many games, Ezekiel? I'm talking to you. How many games do you think he'll end up playing this year, his rookie year? I'm curious in your thoughts on that. Rado says Dart will be a bust. Cad is probably the only quarterback taken that will be relevant in 3 years. Who was Cad? Help me out.
He was the first pick.
Cam Ward?
Yeah, that's probably who he meant.
Okay. Ezekiel says 0. You don't think he's going to play any games? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh, you think they're going to try the other quarterback? You think they're going to try Dillian Moore and give him a chance? That's what you were saying. Okay, I got you. Yeah, he meant Cam. He meant Cam Ward. Well, we do know one thing happened. We do know Shador got pranked. A lot of and we have found out that there were several picks that had gotten pranked, but of course, Shador won the draft, so that's who we'll hear about, right? Ezekiel doesn't think they'll give Shador a shot. Let's go to the video of the prank. This is the prank here, right? Let's
Trey.
Is this the prank?
Hold on. Here we go.
Is this the prank or when you got drafted?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Ready to go!
No, for sure.
Why don't you get up and stand right here?
Yeah, this ain't nothing there.
Ready to go!
What does that mean?
What? What do you say?
I don't know.
How you gonna ask us what it means and you was on the phone?
You heard that?
So you're gonna have to wait a little longer. Sorry about that.
I don't know what that was. It's 50-50. But nobody got this number though.
You have that number?
Nobody. It's a private number.
What the fuck was that? What do you say?
Nah, nobody has his number though. I said nobody has his phone.
All right. So if you didn't know what was going on, Shador Sanders was prank called by what we have since found out was the son of the Falcons defensive coordinator who got a hold of his phone number. See, a lot of these guys, they get phones exclusively for the draft with number that only the NFL executives are supposed to have. And this guy's son got his hands on the number somehow, some way. Don't know how. And they made prank calls to several of the draft picks, most famous, of course, being Shador Sanders, since he was the most famous one in the draft period. Messed up, man. That was messed up. That was messed up by I mean, like really, that was messed up. I felt real bad for the kid right there. I didn't I didn't. I felt bad for him because it was kind of embarrassing because that all happened on TV in front of a bunch of people. But the further he fell, the more I felt bad for him about that prank. You know what I mean? The further he fell was just like, damn, that's really messed up.
So the defense coordinator Jeff Albright issued an apology. The son, whose name is Jax, spelled the stupid way, Jax.
Just like the Giants quarterback.
Yeah, stupid. His apology went as such. On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. What I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. So I guess he called him earlier yesterday, and I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me.
He going to torch the Falcons.
Oh, absolutely.
And any team his daddy coaching, he going to torture.
I'm gonna circle that date. Damn it.
Yeah, he's gonna torture. I may holler at FanDuel or one of them type things that day. I shouldn't have said the name. They ain't sponsoring us. I shouldn't have said that.
I was gonna say, what are you doing?
I know that's outside of character of me. Goose, he said the prank could be evidence that him falling in the draft was by design.
Could be.
And it could have been known that he was going to be fall. He was going to, it could have been relatively known.
You know what's funny though? We should do Sanders. He fell to the fifth round, right? When Manziel was up with his antics, he only fell what?
Did he fall? I don't think that where was he projected to go?
I believe he was projected top 10, but I think he fell to like maybe late teens, early 20s. I can't remember. I gotta look at the thing.
It was still first round for him though, right?
Yeah, still first round. Eli Manning and his shenanigans. Still pick number 1. You can even go back.
Hold on. Be fair. It wasn't Eli's shenanigans. It was his dad's shenanigans.
But Eli was the one that publicly said he did not want to play. He didn't want to play in San Diego because of what he perceived they did to Ryan Leaf.
Okay.
That's why he didn't want to play in San Diego. And then you had I keep wanting to call him John Elway. And even who was the quarterback in Buffalo? Kelly, Jim Kelly.
Oh, Jim Kelly.
Because I believe so. John Elway, I think, was actually he used the fact because remember he was a baseball player and he was drafted by the New York Yankees. So he used that draft to say, well, you know what? I'm kind of teetering between baseball and football. I don't know what to do. There was another player that did that for the Cowboys, Drew something, Hanson or whatever, who wound up being an absolutely
Drew Henson.
And he wound up being a backer he played for the Cowboys, right? Didn't he? Instead of playing baseball.
I think so.
So,
he was supposed to play for he was also drafted by the Yankees, right?
I believe so, yeah. So this isn't the first time you heard of a quarterback, whether it's true or false, not wanting to play for a team. And this is where I think people get the race of the athlete kind of intertwined in this. All those a-hole players did that before they were drafted, and then here you have Shedeur Sanders, who was literally dropped almost 100 spots versus 5 or 10 or 20,
40-something spots.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, I hate using the race card, but there could be some evidence of it in this, just because of how far he
Pretty sure
dropped,
other
and
teams
then all
associated with it too. Like
and
that,
then,
like Chris, I think was part of it.
and then all the stories that went out before he was even drafted. We heard about the stories about his father dictating things, how he didn't take his interview seriously. It's like, who's leaking all the information? You dig what I'm saying? Like all of this stuff was known and leaked before his turn came up to getting drafted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I wouldn't even call it leaked. I would just say it was reported. Like I wouldn't even say it was leaked. Like that, those are just things that come out anyway.
yeah, but it's leaked because
it wasn't reported.
It's all leaked because there was no. It was all anonymous. Anytime it's a quote or not, and writers hide behind that crap so much. The anonymous sources. It's like, all right, why can't you name your source? But they can hide behind that,
Yeah.
So they're not. Yeah. I could literally go out and say, well, Coach Justin pees the bed based on an anonymous source that I said. Now it's going to become partially true. It's like.
So you just really gonna say something like that on the internet where somebody can just clip that? you just gonna mess up all my shit.
It can't be proven that you like donkeys. It can't be proven.
So much goes into it. The fact that a lot of people talk about how he's not, or excuse me, franchises, teams are not going to be able to get over on him because of who his father is, and his father knows the game. His father knows the business side of the game. So they ain't no getting over on him. So let's pick up people we can get over on, because we're not going to get over on this one. There's so many factors that go into it. The fact that he dropped 4 rounds, though, 4 rounds.
Yeah. There's
a whole lot more to it.
And people don't understand, like that's not just like draft positioning, that's cash. You know what I mean?
It is. So yeah, he potentially misses out on money. However, correct me if I'm wrong, he could get to the payday faster now, though, can he?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If he year option or whatever.
If he outperforms even in year one. Well, number one, you know what's going to happen. If he outperforms in year one, listen, we talking about a new contract. I'm sorry.
They're going to sit him down if he outperforms. Because they're not going to pay that money. They're not going to pay that money.
They're not going to want to pay it.
Because they just pay my man on the defense. So, they got plenty of money to throw around because they ain't like they got nobody.
No, but see, this is where they got him by the balls, because Mason challenged Cleveland and said, I want a quarterback. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want a quarterback, or I'm leaving. First it was Pickett. Then they're like, okay, well, now we got 2 potential whatever. So if he outperforms the contract, what is Cleveland going to do? They can't possibly trade him or let him go. They got to do something.
They got to pay him. They got to. They're going to have to pay him. Absolutely.
I think I'm rooting for him now.
What we going to next? Like I kind of lost track of where we were. we got so much we still got to do on this one.
Well, we can kind of brush through the White House visit.
Okay, so the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, of course, and the tradition here in the United States of America is any team that wins a professional championship, or even a college team winning a national championship, they get invited to the White House. No matter who the president is at the time, they get extended a White House invitation. And the Eagles, they got an invitation. And some of them accepted. Some accepted, some did not. One, Saquon Barkley is catching a whole lot of flack for going and hanging out with President Donald Trump. And then, Jalen Hurts was one that did not go. There's actually a number of guys that did not go. But there are also a number of guys that did go. Miguel, I'm gonna let you give your thoughts and lead us into the video. Give
Well,
your
I
thoughts
mean,
and then let me know when to go to the video.
so I know that everybody's kind of in an uproar about Saquon, and I think people are like, well, Saquon's a sellout or whatever. And then you have the other side that's saying Hurts is a sellout or whatever the case may be. I I like the way the Eagles handled this whole thing in the regards to the visit. They didn't say much about it. But here was Jalen Hurts' response. So, you know, just in case if you're trying to figure out what did he actually say, here was his response.
Planning on visiting the White House next week.
Um,
On it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
That's funny because I thought he actually did say. I thought he said he was busy. But that's the first time I'm seeing it. So
Right, but here's the thing, and he's standing on business. He say what you want about Jalen Hurts, whether about talent, about how his demeanor and all that stuff. He doesn't go back on who he is. He doesn't go back on anything that he stands firm on. But he doesn't have to say it. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's many players out there. Well, I'm not going to go because this white man did it. Like, I always say, like, if you're going to protest something, you know what I mean? That's kind of the way for me, that it doesn't always have to be loud. It doesn't always have to be, I'm going to, blow up a 7-Eleven or anything like that. But I do like the way he handled the situation. And with Saquon, he said this was an honor of a lifetime. So he did what he, felt was an honor of a lifetime. Mm-hmm. More power to him. I'm like, are both sides right? Are both sides wrong?
I'm not mad at either one of them.
I'm not, but I just don't like the fact that it's either or. It's like,
right.
Some of the comments that I'm hearing is like, oh my God, I hope that Jalen Hurts never wins a game again. Well, too bad. He's going to win maybe one more, maybe hopefully 2 more Super Bowls. Oh my God,
he wins a Super Bowl the rest of his career. Every
right. Season. Saquon is now his career. I hope his career goes down. It's like why are we going back to this hate stuff again? They want us to hate each other. Like, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep feeding this?
Falling? Why do we keep getting hit with the hook?
Right. It's like, but I don't know. I'll be honest. I think this is going to fade out pretty quick because Saquon said what he said, and that was it. There's nothing more to say. Mm-hmm. Hurts said what he needed to say without saying a word. Spoke volumes. Nothing more about it. Let's go out and win games. That's what it's going to be with this team, and that's what I like.
Exactly. And then there was talk about this is going to mess up the chemistry for the team, going forward. Next year it's going to mess up the chemistry. Here's what I got to say about that. This team won a Super Bowl during an election year. So I'm pretty sure people know which way these guys were voting. I'm pretty sure they knew who was supporting who in that locker room. And you know what they did? They still played together. Mm-hmm. That's the key word there. Together and achieved a common goal. While the powers that be, in this world try to separate us by any means necessary, with race, with religion, with politics, with whatever the case may be, even sports. This team still came together and achieved a common goal.
You know what's funny? If you look back at any championship team, any franchise, any dynasty or whatever, I don't think you have on a football team 11 or 52 players that all like each other and are all kumbaya. There was a story about one of the greatest franchises. Well, not anymore. The Oakland A's in the 70s, they won 3 straight World Series championships, 72 to 74. 3 players got into fights with each other, broke each other's ribs, and 2 players slept with each other's wives. Like, it was, granted, it was the 70s, so I guess you can do that thing. but they were known, and you had Reggie Jackson as your superstar on that team. And yet they were able to come together for a common cause, and every October they won the World Series, where half the players hated each other. It's like you're never gonna have a team that that has that 1,000% bonded chemistry.
Never. And
sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that edge. Sometimes you need that, like, oh, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some players run off of that, are fueled by it.
You probably never have that at any level of any sport where every team likes each other from top to bottom. It ain't going to college, high school, middle school, elementary school, daycare, doesn't matter. Lakers in 5. We're gonna what we got? Didn't we have another video for this?
Yeah, it was the Eagles. So this was the video of the Eagles being serenaded, followed by, the video will speak for itself. Listen till the end.
So what's funny about that to me, I don't know who the people were that were in the crowd, but they started cheering after they said it. I thought that was pretty funny. It's pretty good. Because Dallas does suck. It was true. It's funny because it's true. Let's put this comment in there. We cannot continue to deny that racism collusion doesn't exist. Team Sanders is a brand. They are doing the same as the Ball family. And then the Philly crowd. So the Ball family, I made that comparison as well with the Ball family.
I don't like the father at all.
Why?
Have you seen how he treats his wife publicly?
Not at all.
No, I'm not a fan. I can't talk about him right now, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I know nothing about his personal life at all. Actually, didn't he just?
But it's not even personal. It was stuff that he told. Like, he doesn't say much now, but when he was before
didn't he have a stroke?
Right, because
or he lost
karma is what I'm saying. Yeah, say what you want about him, whether he got his sons in in basketball, whatever the case may be. But I'll find the video, but he came out with some real foul stuff about, like, what his wife, how he publicly thinks about his wife, and I just didn't care for it. So
okay, that's fair. I mean, I don't know about it, but you do, so I'll give you that one because I don't know nothing about it. I'm not saying I'm a fan of the man, but I'm not mad at what he did for his sons.
I'm not mad at that at all. I just think what the stuff that he openly,
you don't like the person that he is. But what he did do was get his sons, well, 2 of them, 2 out of the 3. He got drafted early in the NBA draft. Neither one has made an All-Star game yet, to the best of my knowledge. I know Lonzo hasn't, but not LiAngelo. That's the one that didn't make it. LaMelo will probably make an All-Star game eventually.
And good for them. And in spite of their father, good for them. I'll be rooting for them. But and I'll just leave it at this. I think what I heard him say and saw him say on video about how he treats his wife, I just think he's a piece of shit, and he's getting what he deserves. That's all I'll say about it.
Ezekiel said, "I think the whole team should have won. He feels like the whole team should have went to the White House."
You know what? I don't know if you're ever going to have that, because you're always going to have that. There's going to be a side that there was a team. The Boston Bruins won the Stanley Cup, I think, way back in 2013, and there was a goalie at the time. He was publicly bashing Obama about some sort of policy that he didn't agree with.
Who are you talking about?
I think his name was Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas. He was the goaltender for the Boston Bruins.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
He had like a red beard and all that. And he said, "Look, I'm not going to attend. I just don't believe it was something. It is something. It was something along the lines of something political going on with Syria that he just didn't believe in or whatever." And I think that's actually when people started or athletes started making stances on whether to go to the White House or not. So it's just going to continue. I say if the opportunity presents itself, if you believe in going, go. If you don't believe in going, don't go. But don't castrate the ones that do go, and don't belittle the ones that don't go. Like, it's too much of that going on already. Like, we should be working towards peace, not separation. And I think that's the problem with the political game.
Yeah.
And people talk about the tradition of going to the White House. It only started in the 80s with Ronald Reagan. He was the first president that had that. So it's not like this centuries old tradition. Like, calm down.
Not like Abe Lincoln had the All-Star team. It had the Harlem Globetrotters at the
Right.
White House.
He had the Whitey Willoughbys of Cincinnati.
I'll tell you what, man. If I get invited to the White House, I'm probably going. I've never been inside the White House. I probably never will be inside the White House. So I'm gonna just say, like, if I get invited to the White House, I'm probably gonna go, unless it's to be like a pawn in the what's it called, the State of the Union, when they always have somebody stand up and that person, he lost 4 fingers and a toe trying to dig up his nose or whatever, whatever they be saying, and they clap for him and the other side doesn't really clean out that stupid stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be like my man George Lopez. If I go to the White House, I'm stealing something. I'm gonna take a pen. A trash can, something.
You probably have to come out with something.
You gotta come up with something.
You gotta come out with napkin, something.
A table flag, you gotta.
They probably have stuff. They probably have a room full of stuff that you can steal. There's a room full of stuff. Just take something with you.
A bottle cap.
It has to have the what's it called? The emblem or whatever. You gotta have that.
Yeah.
You gotta have it. We're already over 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we can table that stuff for next week. We can start off with that next week.
Okay. All right. We'll start off with all the baseball stuff next week.
Yeah. Then we'll do the dummies and the damn.
I'll go with my dummy first because mine is not a video.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Actually, I can't go with the dummy. Yes, I can. I just take this out.
It's hysterical though.
No, I have the Cam Newton video up, so I got to take that out anyway. All right, here we go. So for my big dummy, I have it's more like a story, I guess. And here you go, right here. So for my big dummy, you see that I guess that's Mount Fuji, right? I don't know. I'm guessing that's Mount Fuji just because that's what the story is about, Mount Fuji. But so long story short, there is a climber that was rescued from Mount Fuji. Okay, I'll just read it to you. A climber airlifted from Mount Fuji last week returned a second time to retrieve his phone just 4 days later, only to be rescued again, authorities said on Monday. The 27-year-old Chinese student living in Japan had first been airlifted after developing symptoms of altitude sickness. Then he returned to the nearly 10,000 foot high, I don't even know how to say that word, Fuji Namaya, I don't know, trail. The Fuji Namaya Trail, I'll just say it fast so it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. The Fuji Namaya Trail to recover his phone and other items left behind. Another climber found him there, unable to move. I'm sorry.
You know how.
Hold on. Let me finish. Another climber found him there, unable to move after he apparently got sick for a second time, police said.
So you know how this is a very millennial thing, and this is why I hate this generation. I'm gonna try to explain this the best way that I can. I was at a conference in Nashville about a couple years ago, and the person that did the final closeout actually clowned Mount Everest. Okay, no, I take that back. She unsuccessfully attempted to climb Mount Everest and tried to do it twice and didn't reach the peak.
Mhm.
In order for you to climb up these mountains that go up into different atmospheres, you have to do it in stages.
Mhm.
And so, for instance, I think what you have to do is you have to start off at the highest humanly possible peak, stay there for about a day, and then come back down. Then you have to go back up, maybe go like 1,000 feet past that peak, stay a day, and then come back down. Because what you're doing is that because what's happening is every level of atmosphere, your body has to physically change to adjust to the atmosphere. You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
Then you
no,
have
I get it, but
so
I said what because I would never go through with that.
so she said it basically takes a total of about 2 weeks to make the complete climb up to Mount Everest to make it to the top and then come back down. And then you got to do the same thing coming back down.
What?
So
Huh?
yes,
So
you got
I
to
come down and go back up, and then come down some more and go back.
you have to readjust.
Nah.
And this fool did it for. I bet you anything it was an iPhone. I bet you anything it was a damn iPhone.
Nah, he was worried that the girl was going to go up there and find his phone and be able to look through it. That's what he was worried about. I better go get my phone because I know she's on her way. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. He's a student too. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. But okay, so I left this up there for a reason because we're gonna move on. Like I said, I don't know if that's Mount Fuji or not, right? But when I'm looking at the environment that is in this picture, that doesn't look like the type of environment that I'm going to be walking through. Like I can't be lifting my leg up over my hip and back down to try to, you know how long that's going to take? I'm looking, how deep do you think that snow is? Like that's not like a coating. What you think, Miguel? Like that's not, it can't be a coating. That's got to be deep snow, right? That's Blizzard of 9.6.
Several feet.
Blizzard of 2008 or something. I don't know. Goose said it costs a grip to climb Mount Everest. I'll never know. Because what Miguel just told me, I'll never want to do it. You got to climb up and then come back down. No wonder it takes so long for these people to do it. They got to go up and then come back down and then go up some more and then come back. Come on. So, all right. So ideally, I guess you could really climb one of these mountains in a day, right? But if you didn't have to go up and come back down, go up and come back down, I guess you could really do it in a day. But okay, let's move on. That was a big dummy. Where are we going to? Let's introduce this next one.
First one is going to be the one labeled Cleveland Nuts. Okay, now the reason why it's labeled that way is because this was at the draft, and somebody in the graphics department decided, you know how the Cleveland Browns have the dog pound?
Yes.
So this was the graphic that was playing in a commercial break during the draft.
Okay, so they're not televising half these decks or any of these decks. The camera is on stage right now. There are multiple people on stage. We have not seen that yet. There's no way. There's no way this can be it.
So when you look at it through what we just saw it through, it looked really bad. I guess if you're there and you're seeing the whole graphic, it's not as bad. But when you're just looking at it from the point where the thing cuts it off, where the words cut it off, it's pretty damn bad. It's pretty damn bad. And it's got like the dark spots on it too. I guess would be the shadow of the bone or the texture of the bone, which I don't even feel comfortable talking about this anymore, to be honest with you, because I keep saying bone and I don't like it. It said it looks like a doggy bone.
Well, you and her can talk about it later. What's your thoughts on what's your thoughts on doggy bones look like?
Hey, listen. It looked like a sack of balls on. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying, it looked like a sack of balls on, and it was bouncing. That was weird.
All right, the other big, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's one of those embarrassing things that it's embarrassing because it's caught on TV. You're a big guy, and you're it looks like you're throwing a baseball for the first time. So this was during one of
here in the sixth. Oh, to get on the scoreboard.
See what?
It's a good idea here in the sixth. Oh, to get on the scoreboard.
See what had happened was
right here.
that's not supposed to go off.
In the stadium.
Yeah.
Hold on, my G. You right
It's
here.
a good idea here in the sixth. Oh, to get on the scoreboard.
See what had happened was that's not supposed to go off.
It's a good idea here in the sixth. Oh, to get on the scoreboard.
See what had happened was that's not supposed to go off. Whoa.
Oops. Sorry about that, Miguel. I hit the wrong button.
That's quite all right.
He had to be right-handed, right? But no, see, here's how I know that he was not playing around. When the thing came back and it like hit somebody, he just kind of turned, oh, sorry, like he was genuinely sorry. There was like no type of smile because he was playing around. You know that play around smile, like there was not that wasn't there. But I feel like because of the way he threw it, like that's how I would throw. I kind of would probably throw a little better with my left hand than he did. But I feel like that's how my left hand. That's how my arm would be if I tried to throw in my left hand, which I cannot do. You remember when 50 Cent threw that first pitch a few years back?
It had 50 Cent vibes, yes.
It was with his left hand, and people were saying he's really right-handed. He did it on purpose. He got an album coming out.
What do they say? Any attention's good attention?
That's what they say. Ezekiel said that was bad. Yes, it was. That it was. Definitely bad. And you have a damn. Talking to you, Miguel.
What'd you say?
We're doing a show here. You with me?
I'm with you.
I said you have a damn.
Yeah, there's nothing more to say.
Use your hands, baby. Oliver Spike, Texas State University. Go Bobcats.
Yeah.
Use your hands, baby. Oliver Spike, Texas State University. Go Bobcats.
You know I gotta watch it one more time, right? You know I gotta watch it. I gotta pause it at the certain point. Hold on, I paused it a little too late. I'm sorry. Y'all. Look at her hands. Look at it. Okay, because look, we've all been there, right? Not necessarily all spiked in our face. But we've all been there where we might have got hit by something and we trying to look for something to hold us up. Like, ooh. Unfortunately for her, there was nothing around to hold her up.
Nothing at all, just her face.
Whoo. I bet you that they might have been playing the number one team in the state that day because that was a spike. That looks like a high school. I'm going to assume that's a high school. It looks like a high school. I see HH, but I don't know. Like Hayes, I don't know what the second letter is there. What the
Why,
second?
why does the venue matter as far as?
Because here's why. Here's why. Because it goes to what I was saying about. It goes to what I was saying about the level of competition. I don't know if I've ever seen a high school player spike the ball like that. College, yes. High school, I don't know if I've ever seen a high school. She got mollywopped by that ball. I mean, she didn't even have a chance to. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I may have told this story on this show before, so if I have, I apologize. But when I was in school, everybody knows I played baseball. So when you're an athlete in school, you hang with some of the athletes and you support some of the athletes. The other sport, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever the case may be. I'm a fan of tennis. I would support the tennis team, and our number one player on the team was from Philadelphia. And I thought I could play tennis a little bit, right? Because I used to just, mess around with it and play. I thought I'll play you. Just, I didn't expect to beat him, but I said, I'll play. Boom, let's play. I thought I could hold my own, right? So we played, and the very first serve he served, it came in so fast, Miguel. I saw it hit the ground in front of me, and the next place I saw it was hitting the middle of my forehead. And when I tell you, I didn't get a chance to get set up or anything. I was just standing there, and the ball came and was boom, boom, hit me right in the middle of my. And Miguel, when I say the middle of my forehead, look at me here. The dead middle of my forehead is what it hit. Okay. And that and it sounded like it, when you watch tennis and you hear the ball hit the racket and go, pop, and that makes that noise. That's what it sounded like when it hit off the middle of my forehead. And I said, you know what, man? His name was Terrence. I said, you know what, Terrence?
Oh, God.
We not playing no more. I'm obviously out of my league. I'm not going to play you no more. And I'm not going to offer either. Right. I'm not going to do it. So that was so I say that to say that this girl, I guarantee you, she saw the ball. She saw the contact. And the next thing she saw was the ball hitting her dead in the middle of her head.
I'm still mad that you. I'm still mad that you have it in freeze frame with her going back back into the left like JFK.
Because she was looking for something to grab onto, because she knew she was going down.
You want to play it one more time.
You dumb. You know I am. You know I am. Here we go.
Use your hands, baby. Oliver Spike, Texas State University. Go Bobcats.
She didn't have an opportunity. She didn't even start to. It was just boom, boom, and done.
It was almost on the way down. She's looking around. Is this going down right now?
Yeah. All right. You said you're stumping me today.
Oh yeah. Let me set that up real quick.
We always gotta do that. That's a staple.
That's the staple. I like Staples. You get deals from Staples.
Say what now?
I'm joshing. Let's see.
While he goes through that, I was kind of looking at some of the All-Star stuff. The baseball All-Star game is in Philadelphia next year. And I remember the last time I was in Philadelphia, I went down to the convention center when they had the
Fan Fest.
Yeah. And I went up in the cage against Hideo Nomo. I thought I was the truth in baseball back then. I was a young boy. I thought I was nice. When I tell you I only maybe made good contact one time with one of those baseballs, it wasn't even a baseball. I felt like it was probably a tennis ball that was actually being thrown. But I want my revenge. I want to go back. They probably won't have Hideo Nomo, but I want my revenge. I want to go back to Fan Fest and play against one of those things.
You're probably gonna have to face Ohtani.
Huh?
You're probably gonna have to face
Ohtani. Also, LL Cool J performed back then. He had a commercial where he had a song about "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." He performed that song there. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
So here we go. Another player here where Miguel doesn't have a whole bunch of accolades that I can lean on here. The 4 Gold Gloves. I'll tell you right now. I don't know any Gold Glovers to say, yeah, I know like such and such won a Gold Glove in such and such a year. But what I could say is I can guess people that have won Gold Gloves. Like Roberto Alomar's won a Gold Glove, right?
Several, yeah.
See, Cal Ripken Jr.'s won a Gold Glove, right?
Several.
Derek Jeter's won a Gold Glove, right?
Yeah.
But to say that that this person is a 4-time Gold Glover doesn't do anything for me. But here's what I will ask you, and I already know the answer because I know that none of them play for the Phillies. Are any of those people the people that you're stumping me with that I just
absolutely not?
Okay. Here we go. So are we looking at the Orioles, Phillies?
No.
Okay. Are we looking at the Astros?
No.
Okay. Are we looking at the Padres?
Yes.
Okay. Padres, Phillies, Rays, or Royals?
Neither.
Damn. Okay. We're looking at the Padres, Phillies, Cubs.
No.
Damn. Okay. We're looking at the Padres, Phillies, Dodgers.
There you go.
Nationals.
No.
Cleveland.
No.
Boston.
Yes.
We're looking at the Padres, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Bostons, and then the Nationals.
And no.
I meant the Indians / Guardians.
No.
I meant the Braves.
No.
Who did I mean? So you
meant
the team already. Ain't no way I'm gonna get the person.
I mean you meant the Los Angeles Angels.
That's the Angels? Oh, geez. I have no shot at getting this. All right. So we have the Padres, the Phillies, the Dodgers,
Boston,
the Red Sox,
and the Angels.
And the Angels. I think I know who it is, but I can't think of the name. Like I'm seeing the person, but I can't think of the name. 2-time All-Star, World Series, wore number 8 and 18 for the Phillies, 4-time Gold Glover. What's the first team again? San Diego?
San Diego Padres.
It's not Shane Victorino, is it? Give me some. Give me some, baby. Give me some. Yes, indeed. The Flying Hawaiian. The Flying Hawaiian. I actually forgot that he played for the Dodgers. And that really threw me right there. And I didn't realize he had 2 numbers for the Phillies either. So
right.
Those 2 things really, and actually I never knew he played for the Angels at all. So
yeah, I think it was his last hurrah. Nobody realized he was on the Angels.
Padres, Phillies, and Red Sox, I knew. But the Angels and Dodgers, I did not. Well, at least the Dodgers, I did not remember. The Angels, I didn't know.
Yeah, and I remember with the Padres, he was a Rule 5.
Yes.
Rule 5. That's why he went unprotected. So that's when the Phillies picked him up.
Absolutely. So awesome. Hey, that's 2 weeks in a row.
No, that's 3. That's actually I think 4 in a row for you.
I'll take it.
You have not lost. I don't think you've lost this year.
I'll take that too. And I won't even look at the tape to prove you right. I'll just say you're right.
Oh, I got you.
No, see, I know what you're gonna do now. I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna pick some random Negro leaguer that played 3 games for like the Detroit Tigers in 1968 that pitched one time because everybody else was hurt. I know what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother just put Victorino in the chat.
Yeah, he watches about 25 seconds late.
That's okay. That's quite all right. As long as he watches, I'm all right with it. All right, I guess that's it. it's time for us to get out. And don't forget, Miguel, you can always pick basketball and football too. I know you used to.
I was kind of doing it along with the seasons and stuff. So I got you too. I got you there.
Miguel, I'm gonna do something real quick. Hold on, maybe I could hopefully I can pull it up here because I don't think we covered this, and I really like it. So, I want to put this out there because we have not covered this, or we did not talk about this, but it's something that we do talk about, and I just want to put it out there. And I'm waiting for this picture to come up. Come on, man, give me a better picture than this. Okay, all right, I'll use this one. Okay, I'll use this picture. All right, let me stop that, and I'm gonna show you this. So I'm sure you've seen it by now. The Chicago White Sox City Connect.
Yes, dude, I really like those.
I like them bad boys. Hold on. So for those like me who grew up as a fan of the NBA, and even if you didn't, you might even still like them. I don't know. But
well, it's because I didn't know that MLB was actually going to do another cycle of Connect jerseys, because DC came out with a new version of theirs. The Giants came out with a new version of theirs. The Astros came out with a new version, and the Cubs came out with a new version.
And I'm having issues with the doggone thing. So I don't know what is coming up in here. It's acting stupid right now. And all right, I'm gonna try. This thing keeps jumping around. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to share this thing, but it's acting real dumb right now. But here we go. There's a good picture of it. So it's kind of like a tribute to the Chicago Bulls.
It's grayed out. Can you click on that continue thing because it looks grayed out on the screen?
Yeah, I tried to click on it and it ain't working. I tried to click on both of those things. It's not doing anything. So I don't know. But you can't see the jersey. You can see it's just dark.
But hold on, I think I have the okay, hold on. I got the video reveal for it.
Oh, you special.
It just can't. I went on to the thing.
I think I also have it too, but it's dark as well.
All right, ready?
That's you, not me. I'm sorry. Here we go. I mean, that was me, not you. So here we go. This is the Chicago City jersey reveal. It's a crossover between their uniforms and the Chicago Bulls uniforms. Of course, they're going to say the Chicago Bulls uniforms of the heyday because they're not going to talk about when the Chicago Bulls were absolutely putrid. But it's a pretty dope uniform. And it reminds me, Miguel, and I'm going to tell this, I'm going to just put your business out there. It reminds me of what you do on the video game where you make the Eagles jerseys into baseball jerseys. It's pretty done. Now now that we've seen this, now you have to make a Sixers version of a baseball jersey, of a baseball uniform. I want to see it.
Yep.
But let me ask you this: what version of the Sixers uniform would you use?
I always liked the 2000 the Iverson jerseys from the early 2000s.
Okay,
because I like the blue ones and I like the black ones.
I always liked the blue one. I always liked the blue one the best. The black one was cool too. The white one was pretty plain. Everybody had to have a white one, so it was that. But it is what it is. Look, we're gonna get up out of here. It is about that time. We have held y'all hostage long enough, and we are now setting you free. But before you go, I ask that you hit the thumbs up, or you hit the share button, the like button, wherever you might be checking this out. We appreciate y'all checking this out every Tuesday here on New Twist Radio. Copy that link, send it to all your friends and your family and the people that you love and anybody that you think would enjoy us. And also send it to the people that you don't like, just in case you didn't like what we did. If the people that you don't like, you can say, hey, I want you to see this. You can show it to them and make them mad. Or you can do it every week. All right. Either way, give us a share. All right. We love y'all for loving us. We're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all next week here on the CheckSwing Podcast. Peace out, y'all.